welcome to everyone to our first NGE podcast. And you will discover a little bit more as we go. But right now, I just want you to really meet Hayley Adcock. Hayley, say hello.
Hello.
Yeah, that's it. And Lisa Thompson.
Hi, everyone.
Say hello. Yeah, so everyone knows. And I'm Thomas Hoang. Now, I'm gonna let our people introduce each other, and then we take it from there. So let's start with Hayley.
Okay, I'm Hayley Adcock. I am a mum of 2 children, aged 8 and 6. Chevy's almost 9. And I'm from a family of, I've got 2 older sisters. Mum and dad are still together, live on the Central Coast, grew up on the Central Coast. My background is in psychology. So I went to Newcastle Uni, studied psychology, went into child protection, child adolescent psychology. I worked in, owned a private practice and also worked in schools for many years. So I'm just passionate about mental health for everyone, because it's, you know, mental illness can just strike anyone at any level, any profession, any age. So I'm pretty passionate about, you know, everyone getting the help they need, but also just being normal. So I'm here in a professional capacity, I guess, to feed into that, but also in a personal capacity, because I'm not normal either. So it is, it's going to be a bit of both, I think. So this first topic I'm pretty passionate about. Not good enough, as I said, in both a professional way, I can talk into that, but also in a personal way.
It always worries me when someone says I'm not that good on that subject, or I need this, because I know they're pretty good. All right. Anyway, so what about you, Lisa? How are you going?
Hi, everyone. I'm well, thanks.
Has he brought you your wine yet?
No, there's still no wine, so that's fine. I have water, so that's fine.
All right, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Lisa Thompson. I'm a mum of 3. Stephen and I have 4 children together, or between us. We've just recently become grandparents, so we have a little grandson who's just about 5 months old. I'm the youngest child of 4. I come from a large supportive family. My parents are also still together, and it's, you know, even odd that that's something that we feel we have to say, you know, because there's so many divorces around these days. But this topic I feel quite excited about, to see where it can take us. I think a lot of people can relate to this subject. I know that I can personally, professionally, and as a parent. So yeah, I think it's exciting to see who we can help and what input we can get from everyone out there to help us. Because what is normal, right? Who is normal and what is normal? So that might be a subject for a whole nother day.
Yeah, I like that. I like it. I think that the people have been asking me what is NGE? It's NGE stands for not good enough. And the purpose of this podcast is that I truly believe, having worked now for over 25 years with people, in terms of training them. I started training them in real estate, but I also start noticing that the difference between the people who would do certain things and the people who knew as much, if not more than the other person, and would do less. And one of the conclusions I've come to realize lately is that the biggest wastage in life is the wastage of in human potential. And so one of the things that really got me to think about this is that, hold on, why don't we just do something and help people to have that kind of choke start, if you will, so that they can unleash themselves and start extracting not only the best of themselves in a professional field, but also in their own private life. Because I see people who have got an amazing professional life, but then they totally unravel their private life. They get divorced, they do silly things, and that to me is not full living. I think full living is what the word full means. It's everything. And so I sat down and decided, hold on, we need to do something, not only after COVID for Australia, but maybe for people all around the world to really realize that there are tools out there that are valuable to people to in extracting the best of themselves and getting to a higher level of performance. I believe that we need to do whatever we can as a human being to share with other people what we've lived. One of the reasons I really thought of you straight away, Lisa, was that I have always admired your ability to just be who you are. Sometimes maybe a little bit too humble, but deep down I could see a real fighter, and I love that. Now, when I spoke to you, Hayley, even though we've known each other for quite a number of years, but when I spoke to you, I went straight away, my goodness, how come I have not discovered more of this lady beforehand? Is you have that stamina that is about, hold on, you know where you're going, you also know what you want to share. And I thought, hold on, this is the right format. We are obviously having an opportunity for a fourth person to join us on a fortnightly basis, because this podcast is going to run once a fortnight. But it's really going to be our job to see how we can unleash people, right? And I think that is the idea of this podcast. Now, is there anything else that you ladies wanted to add?
No, I think mainly it's about also getting input. Yes, because we can sit here as panelists, or we can sit here as a group with others feeling like they can buy into that and share their experiences. So I'd love to hear, you know, as people start to listen to this podcast and it gets out there a little bit more, that it's okay for us to revisit some of the things that we might have spoken about and get people to feed into that as we go.
You can hear straight away she's a psychologist. She just want to make sure that her data is clean.
Reliability, validity.
I like that. All right, so
feeling of I think people feeling not good enough is different for everyone though, because I think a lot of people may not admit to I don't feel good enough for this or for that or for whatever they're whatever issue they're facing. Sometimes they might just divert off and go into a completely different direction just to avoid that situation. So I think it's different for everyone, and a lot of people won't actually admit that that's how they feel. They'll just make an excuse or, do something to avoid that situation. So I think it's different for everyone.
Okay. Oh, well, ladies and gentlemen, Lisa has just introduced the topic of the week. And the topic of the week is, it's okay to feel not good enough. So first of all, do you think everyone's doing it? Not good enough?
Yeah.
Do you think that everyone does that?
I think so. But what I would like to clarify, and here's my psychologist hat come on, that it's a thought, not a feeling. So you think you're not good enough. It's not an actual feeling.
Okay.
The feelings are different. It's like a feeling of inadequacy, or there's other feelings attached to it, but not being not good enough or thinking you're not good enough is a thought, not necessarily a feeling.
But Hayley, are you already giving the one of the solutions? Because I'm just thinking, all my life, all I've had is the feeling that I'm never good enough.
The thought, Thomas.
No. But I felt it. I felt deep inside. I would be, all my life I have felt like if people were giving me a gift or clapping, I would feel like, hold on, no, this is wrong. This is not for me, and it makes me actually feel bad to even have that celebration or have the gift. And I hear your point about the thought, because now you're saying that to me, I'm thinking, I should have thought it was a thought, but every single time I felt like I wanted to hide under a rock. So I can guarantee you it was not just a thought, it was a feeling for sure. So we're talking about this topic here. I know that everyone's doing it. I feel that, you know, it is pretty bad, because I believe that there's no more wastage than wasted dreams. Everyone's got dreams, but they don't seem to just do that. But how are you going to convince me it's a thought? Because all my life it's been a feeling for me.
Well, I think it's the attached feeling. So you've got to work out what they are. So I guess self-doubt is also a thought, not a feeling. And so
We can have a lot of arguments.
I know, I feel like we are. We're ready. I'm ready. Because not feeling not good enough is just like, that's just a catchphrase, really. But it's a thinking you're not good enough, and there's other feelings attached to that.
Okay, but so how do you explain? I have a thought I'm not good enough, but then when something, let's say at an awards night, I would push other people first. That's no longer a thought.
Well, that's an action.
Yeah. Okay. So, but that's coming from my feeling of not really being good enough. Therefore, I'm ready to just clap and push everyone first on stage, and push everyone to get whatever they get. Yeah. And I'm trying to do everything to just stall my time.
Yeah. So there's that feeling not good, not inadequate. Are you feeling not accepted? Are you like feelings are around like acceptance? Around belonging. They're all sort of feelings.
Just no, because you see that I'm a very kind of primary kind of dude, so I don't think very high. So all I'm thinking is something inside me bothers me. Something is uncomfortable. I really feel so much discomfort about it that I would do anything to get rid of that feeling of discomfort. Yes. Yeah. So I'm trying to deal with my feeling. I never sat down and thought, hold on, mate, you're just having a thought. Just change the thought, right? So I'm just doing everything to just change that into a feeling of, oh, thank God they're talking about somebody else. You can sit down and rest for a little while now. Yeah. So I just don't know.
I think you just said that in your feeling was uncomfortable. It was discomfort, but you didn't recognize what the thoughts were around that.
Yeah. So how do we help the people who are listening to us now in discerning the difference between the two? Because a lot of people are no one's going to sit down and say, hold on, that was just a thought, mate. That
was a thought.
Because they're going to start thinking, hold on, I think I'm suffering from schizophrenia now.
Someone's talking in my head. And that is, and I mean, I talk about this a lot, even when you think about anxiety, depression, those sort of things, because they're thoughts as well. Feelings of sadness, but it's thought, like depressive thoughts. So it is really, really hard, but it's that it's where your mind body sort of enmeshes in that. So I think I probably did give away a bit of how to step above. But when we say feeling not good enough, it's like it's not on the primary feeling wheel, but it's what's behind that I guess that's what we're going to find out, because that will be the difference between succeeding in what we want to do or not.
I like that. Lisa, can I just ask you, so you ever had feelings or thought of not good enough, and were they feelings or thoughts for you?
Well, for me, it's a feeling, but it's when you have that thought, because it's like a nerves, anxious feeling for me. But of course, it's a thought, and it's what you do from that point as to where you go and what direction. Always in my life, when I felt like that, I've always tried to tell myself that, you're strong, you can do this, whatever it may be, and step up and move forward and do it. And if I didn't have the knowledge, or, I would seek knowledge so that in my career, so I knew what to do to follow through. But for me, it's always more of a feeling than a thought. And it's quite funny because I joke around with my kids about your friends in your head. And they always say to me, what goes on in your head, Mum? How many personalities are in there? Like, what's going on? But it's my way of, you know, having a joke with them, because they may think Mum's crazy, but it's my way of saying to them, it's you're your own best friend in your own mind, and it's the way that you talk to yourself is how you move forward. Because if you're constantly doubting yourself in your head, you know, of course you're going to feel not good enough or nervous or anxious. You have to tell yourself that you've got this and you can do it. Put your big boots on and go and do it. So that's how I've always got around it. So and if I don't do it, who else is going to do it? You know, like you've got to hold it all together.
Let's agree to disagree for the moment, right? So
okay.
I'm sure, I mean, it's great to have professional, and it's fantastic because you go, all right, I'm thinking it's a thought. And Hayley, deep inside, I'm going, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but how the hell do I know it's a thought when I'm feeling it? Right?
Yeah.
So the person who's feeling not good enough, they can't say, hey, it's a not good enough kind of thought. No, they just feel bad, right?
Yes.
It's a little bit like, there are times when someone rings me and I'm thinking about what they about to say, and I feel not even deserving of that, or and suddenly it's a feel for me. How the hell do I sit down and go, that's a thought, man? You know, it's because emotion takes over so fast that it bypasses thoughts, right? So we don't even know it's thoughts. Yeah. So what would be a trick that what would be a tip that you'd give people so that they can sit down and go, no, that's a thought, man?
Well, I guess a bit of a back part of that, which I guess is a question. So if you're feeling not good enough, I want to ask, for whom?
That's a good question, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Because there's always like a catalyst behind things. So yeah, I guess I'm not really answering your question, but I might get there. But in the beginning, it's like you're not feeling good enough, or you think you're self-doubting, and your thoughts are, I'm not good enough, or I'm not deserving, or you know, whatever it is. And I just want to put out there, for who? Like, are you not living up to your own expectations? Is it, you know, parents? Is it colleagues? Is it that you feel like you're going to let everyone down? So who? For whom?
But deep inside, we know that not good enough always stems from parents, really, in the end.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, sometimes it's family, culture. Yeah, like upbringing. It
most
can
of
be.
the time, I look at what people do. It's most of the time it's in their primary years. Yeah. Not good enough is probably a feeling that they have in their first 3 years. Yeah. When mom and dad say, no, you can't have that, right? Or no, go to sleep now.
Do it this way, not that way.
Yeah. So that's where not good enough starts, and I'm sure there's not good enough happening afterwards. I mean, I've met people who have had a beautiful relationship, then got dumped by their girlfriends and go into heavy depression and ask themselves about not good enough. And then suddenly from that moment onwards, decided with their next partner that they would do anything with that partner because they're driven by that not good enough feeling, and they try to overcompensate and do everything so that they don't lose that person, and they're not realizing you're driven by a not good enough kind of program. And the moment that you become aware of that, you may change, right? So yeah, but most of these things happens from very early days. Now, here's the thing I want to ask you, the psychologist, how the hell can parents make sure that they don't create not good enough in their kids then?
I guess
I'm asking you.
Yeah.
Lisa, you know, so that you're not off the hook.
I guess it's that, like, it is what we've been told or said about ourselves, or what we say about our children. Like, it's the labels we give ourselves and others, like, oh, he's my sensitive child, or, you know, she's this, or, you know, those sort of labels that we give each other, or she's really lucky, isn't she? And then it comes down to luck, or, you know, sensitivity, and like we use them as our barriers, but it does become our inner, I guess we can be our own inner critic, which can have come from our parents, but it can become like from experience, where all of a sudden we were told, oh, you're this, or you know, oh, you can get really aggressive over that, or, you know, and then it gets in your head. So then you carry that along. So there's lots of labels, and I think we need to recognize, what labels have we got?
So how could parents use labels in a good way rather than create more NGE?
Well, I think sometimes parents like then go to the opposite end and like, oh, you're just the best at everything, aren't you? And everyone deserves a first place ticket and prize and these, and that's too far.
That's the whole other end of the scale. That can relate to a whole different lot of problems.
So I think it's recognizing who the child is, but giving enough space to, you know, let them be individual, and not have it a bad thing to be a sensitive male, you know, to go, oh, he's sensitive, you know, and then all these little boys think that's a bad thing, or for girls to be assertive, you know, that could be seen as a bad thing, or they're sassy, or they're these things, and like all these labels that you go, oh yeah, I've said that about my child, or I've said that about myself, or I've heard that. We do it constantly, and it does become part of us, who we are. So I think it's not sort of changing, it's being conscious, and being conscious of what we're doing, that our words filter out not only to our kids but to each other, and then that's how we sort of create that those feelings.
What about you? You got 3 kids, right?
I've got 2.
Lisa, you've got 3 children.
3.
Yeah, and they are mostly adult, right?
22, almost 19, and 17 on Tuesday.
Yeah, even that young dude, he's the most adult dude that I've met, 17-year-old. So have you ever thought about NGE or not good enough, as I was asking you to join us, and
No, I was very surprised that my kids actually sort of said to me that that's the best topic for you, Mum. And I was like, what? Why? And one of the kids actually said she learned, well, Lucy obviously learned from the best, because I taught her. And it's like, really? Like, I was really surprised that she felt that I had passed that on to her, because I think all my children are amazing, and they know that, and they know that I think that they can all do anything and everything if they put their mind to it, and they're all very successful, hard working, you know, got great work ethic, and the 3 of them are all happy and got their own careers. So yeah, I am surprised that they can see that and they feel that sometimes, so they need to listen to the friend in their head. But yeah, I've always tried to encourage them, and I've always treated all of them as little mini grown-ups. I haven't sort of tried to baby them through their life and all their experiences and things that we've been through. So yeah.
So Hayley was talking about being conscious, building the awareness of NGE. Since you have been asked to be part of the NGE podcast, what happened to you? Did you ever sit down and while you're cooking, are you going?
Well, it hasn't left my mind. And I haven't liked that it stirred up feelings of my past. So, yeah, and I think I probably didn't allow myself to, well, I don't think that I allowed myself to feel not good enough, even though a lot of people I've spoken to have said that they see me as feeling that way. I I think it's all sounds very confusing, but I think I've always thought to myself, I've got myself out of it because I go, I deserve better, you know, and I want something different. And I've always turned myself around and gone after that and tried to head in a better direction. So yeah, I am surprised that a lot of people think that I carry that NGE.
Yeah.
So,
no, that's where you've been my hero. But Hayley, do you notice it about how parents sometimes don't just see it?
Oh, definitely. I'm a child psychologist, and and I can still do that to my kids because it's our expectations.
So what would you advise parents now to make sure? Because I truly believe whatever you don't conquer in your NGE, whatever you do in terms of NGE, it will be passed down, right? So yeah. I don't know whether you agree with this, but me, I've got no hair, but I've experienced to know what I've done. And I sometimes fully regret what I've done with my children, even though I don't want to recognize it too much, otherwise they might sue me. But how can a parent really go, yeah, it's fine for you guys to just say that, you know, but how do we have techniques for parents to go, all right, we need to pay attention to this and we need to stop doing that to our kids and pass it down?
I think there's always going to be an element of thinking you're not good enough. And I think social media plays a massive part in that, in the teenagers, and it will be for my children being younger, that, you know, it used to just be family influence when we grew up. You know, you only were around your mum and dad and your aunties and your uncles or whoever you had around at the time. But now, and, you know, you'd watch some TV shows and there'd be some ads, but now it's constant. There's constant social media and there's constant, I guess, feedback of, oh, look at these people with all this money and doing all, and look at these like skinny models. So it's constantly bombarding adolescent, young adults and kids around, you know, not being good enough, not being skinny enough, not being smart enough, not having enough money. So we need to get back to, I guess, acceptance around who we are, where we've come from. And in that, I guess, not being good enough it's like an unmet need. Like you've got a need that's not been met somewhere along the way. And it's hard for parents in busy lives to meet all of their children's needs, and I'm not saying that, but it's about going, well, what are the main values? Like you want to create independence, you want to create acceptance of them and, you know, who they want to be and whatever else. You want to provide security, and a sense of belonging. But then you want to also go, you know, well, everyone has a separate purpose. So what I often see is, you know, sometimes parents living through their children because of their sense of purpose, and then that's put down. I see it, you know, on the soccer field, you know, when you go down the thing, and I see it at work, and I see things where they're like, you know, I want you to be this, or I want this for you because I didn't get that opportunity, and you need to do this because of these reasons. And I think you need to be aware of that you can be doing that to children or adolescents, and you can also do it to yourself. So yeah,
but it is crazy. I mean, I'm 54 and I'm just thinking, hold on, it's taken me 50 years to realize about NGE, and I didn't even know. I was living like a robot, only to repeat some of the programs that I've received from my parents or from society, because after a little while, society also starts to impact on your programming. And I'm just thinking, is it something that you get as you age, or is it possible to get it when you're 17? Like, is it possible for a 17-year-old to listen to us and go, hold on, NGE, I just did it. NGE, no, my parents just tried to put it on me. Is it possible?
Yeah, Yeah, it is. Because I think at any age you can feel not good enough. You know, you can think.
But can you recognize that it is a lie? It's only a thought. That's a thing. Because I didn't know it was a thought until you just said.
Yeah. No, you have to have that cognitive ability to be able to discern the difference between what's a thought and a feeling. And that comes with, I've been doing cognitive behaviour therapy for many years now, like that comes from therapy and things like that. But for children, when we do things with them around like facing fears, and going like, you might be fearful of this, but, you can face it, and pushing people out of their comfort zones. So, and children get those concepts. So right. I believe they can get the idea.
Okay, let's have a look at you here, Lisa. I could not believe what you said to me about Lucy. How when you asked Lucy about it, Thomas asked me to do this topic, blah, blah, and she's absolutely, Mom. And you do that to me. It's like, hold on. Then Lucy has known about this for years.
Well, it seems that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, but she hasn't told you. She hasn't formulated. So
that's right.
So somehow our kids have realized that.
Picked that up.
Yeah. Do they pick that up?
She claims that I gave that to her. So.
She blames. So, what would be a piece of advice we could give young parents now, so that they don't create it? Because I now find myself spending more time on, like, is what I'm saying going to create it, or how do I?
Because just to clarify, Hayley, you don't know my kids. In no way is Lucy not good enough in any respect, because she's amazing, and she's pushed herself through school like she's achieved, like she's really worked hard, like she should be so proud of who she is. She's a beautiful person. She's got a great career. So for her to feel like that, it made me sad, and I don't know why she's picked that up or why she feels like that, Poor Lucy, now she's being psychoanalyzed and she's not even here to defend herself.
I personally don't think that you should feel sad, because she actually knows it already before even she started life.
Or because she's just given her mum a good stir up.
Like Hayley says, I've seen people who have had those feelings of not good enough, and they put themselves so low that they actually wait to have children. And when they have children, they put the burden of NGE onto their children. They have to succeed, because their success will nullify their feeling of NGE. Right, Hayley?
Yeah. And it's about like, feeling like everyone, like, or your children or your partner is a reflection of you. So like making sure everything, all your ducks line up, everyone looks good, everyone, don't say that, don't speak like that, those sort of things, because you feel like it's a reflection on you or your parenting, or your relationship and those sort of things. So it's just become this society sort of dance that everyone does around, like, no one feeling good enough. But everyone wanting to look like they are.
Yeah.
Look like they've got it together.
I think a lot of it does come from social media, like you said. Like half the things you see on social media, you think, well, is that really your true life, or is that what you want to put out there? So it's about how honest people are being on social media and with themselves. If they look at their own social media and think, oh, this is the life that I lead, is it really though? It's like how they, put it out there.
And I think that's why there's an increase in mental, in mental illness in society, and like especially because of COVID and things like, all you had was, computer and a phone or whatever at that time, no human connection. But I do think that it's just everyone has those thoughts.
Yeah.
And so I was talking when we originally spoke, Thomas, around imposter syndrome.
Yes, I was going to approach. That was my next question. You're
like, great minds. But I was talking about this phenomenon around, and it's not only successful people, but it's it's more researched, I guess, in really really high successful people, but I just believe it's with anyone, like feeling inadequate, feeling like regardless of your training, regardless of your education, regardless of what you've done, still feeling like a fraud. That's what imposter syndrome is.
Yeah, that is correct. However, where I've written a book now that is about to be published on Not Good Enough, and I believe that the imposter syndrome is about how you feel in terms of deserving of either position or job or success or whatever, right? Where I truly believe that not good enough is something that you do because of the programs that you've received in the early days, and you haven't managed. For example, someone who's highly successful, who's greedy, who just want more and more and more, and when he gets that success and he makes that amount of money, he wants more now because I need to have more. I truly believe that that person is suffering from not good enough. Not a imposter syndrome. You look at him,
no, that's different.
And he's probably going to say, no, I want more, right? And I see them go for that more because of NGE, not imposter syndrome. And sometimes some of these people, I see them when first they fight against people outside their family. When they can't do that, they now go and fight it inside their own family. And that's when they want their siblings to have less than them. And if their sibling can have less than them, they feel like King Kong because they now feel worthy of love, respect, and whatever you feel. And so for me, NGE is way, way more than just imposter, because it delineates for me an absolute way of behavior, whether you're good or not. I see people who are millionaires and who suffer from NGE. I look at their behavior and I go, you're not happy, right? Because in the end, all right, let's have a look at now. People are going to say, all right, why is NGE bad? Because for me, NGE ultimately leads to sabotage, self-sabotage. Isn't it? I know imposter does that too, but NGE,
but it's different. Like, sometimes the imposter syndrome can be more that you don't go for the promotion, like you self-sabotage that way. Like you don't go for the promotion because I'm not going to get it, so I won't go for it anyway. Whereas sometimes feeling not good enough or those sort of feeling inadequate, all of those things, I believe they're two separate things, and they can overlap.
They overlap, absolutely overlap.
But
this is when you see like singers who are or actors or people who are highly famous, then they have marriage breakup, they commit suicide, they go out there and do everything to destroy everything that they've built. I believe that's the realm of NGE. What do you think, Lisa?
I think that you guys are more qualified on this subject than me.
No, it's not true. One of the reasons I thought of you straight away when I was thinking about NGE is I don't believe qualified is about the ability to say things or formulate into words what one lives. I looked at your life and I've analyzed some of the things that you've done. You are a winner.
Thanks, Thomas. But when you're talking about when is enough, I was talking to my mum today, and she said to me that she thinks that you need to have just enough, because then you've still got the ability to be happy and content, rather than continuing to work for more and more and more. But I think some people can't realize that when is enough, and I think that's where they miss out on living and enjoying their life, because they're distracting themselves by working for more and more.
Okay. I'm going to go into a left field, because as every podcast, there's always a left field kind of thing. Do you think that then most people, if they don't work on NGE, they propagate it in their life? All right, I'm going to ask you a very different question, all right? Is it possible that most people marry the wrong person? I don't know. I'm asking a question.
Well, I've now married the right person, so.
The operating word was now.
That's right.
So I don't know. This is a question for you, Hayley. Is it possible then? Most of us, when we first get married in our younger years, are we getting married to someone who's gonna fill the void of our NGE? And that therefore, after a little while, we grow up, and if we grow faster than our partner or in a different direction, or we get satisfied with certain things in our life, that our NGE gets satisfied and we now want something else?
Possibly. I haven't really thought about it like that. But from a personal experience, that wouldn't be the case for me, but maybe we've grown together.
I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about your professional life, woman.
I'm doing both. I'm trying to be both here. Trying to let people know who I am as well.
Can you make sure that your partner's not watching this, please, so they don't?
So I don't come across like I should be in a lab coat and like, you know, checking everyone off. But no, I think, yeah, I guess, well, marriage and like any relationship, I think fulfills a need. And so if it is coming from that not good enough, yeah, we can be vulnerable to filling the void with someone who isn't the best fit for that reason. So yes, that can happen. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's probably true. You know, like when I work with a lot of young parents, like teenage parents.
Wow.
And you know, and sometimes they are vulnerable to relationships that don't work because out of that need, they want to create this. You know, they may have been from a not so good background, and their parents had them very young, and so it becomes in this generational sort of thing. But and then they want to create this beautiful family because they didn't have it, but it doesn't work out that way because there's so many unmet needs, and the void is you know, getting married and having children isn't what needs to happen to fill that void. And so yeah, I guess they would feel not good enough. That's the conversations I've had with some of them. And so then clawing at trying to go, or he's not, you know, he's not for me, and I'm not a good enough parent, and I'm not a good enough partner, and you know, and then it just spirals.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether I answered your question, but
no. Listen,
I guess it's
my job is my job is simple. I'm a shit stirrer, and the two of you ladies just provide a solution. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, you have someone special behind you.
I do.
Are you gonna be long yet?
Bye. I say, don't come in. And my husband is sitting out there, and he's probably walked straight past him to ask me something. Go and ask your father.
That's normal. There you go.
Yeah, that's
what normal is.
No, I know, Matt. Matt's going, mate, the question's a bit sensitive. Go and ask your mum about
Yes, that's right. Ask her when she'll be off.
Listen, you know, I think the personally, NGE, if you don't really take into account and work on that from a young days, and you said one word earlier about consciousness, I speak about it in my book in terms of awareness. Mm-hmm. Most of us live a life without awareness or unconsciously. We do things, it's almost automated because we do things. We get married because we love someone. We do this because that's how the Jones do, or we do this because, you know, it looks good. I personally believe that one of the keys to NGE is to sit down and really take the time to be self-aware. And see what is it that makes me run the way I run.
Yeah.
And then realize, okay, half of my running is obviously from trying to please dad, because all my life I've been told unless I please dad, I either will get punished or I will not get the love that I need to feel. And then therefore I create a not good enough feeling. And only when I realized that is something that is from the past, just like when I look at the water in the river, by the time I realized that's the water in the river, that water is already gone, hundreds of meters down. Until I realized it is something that is in the past, it stays in the past, that doesn't have to define who I am today, then I can't change myself. And therefore I think that making the time to be aware of our actions and our thoughts is probably a big key and big solution to NGE.
I agree. I think curiosity is around why am I responding that way? Why does that make me feel that way? And that goes for not just NGE, but anxiety, anything that makes you nervous, or like, why? What is that? Being curious about it.
Yeah.
Enough to explore it. You don't always have to face your fear, but you've got to know you've got it in the first place and be curious about why, where did that come from? Like when people are scared of dogs or something, you're like, oh, did I ever get attacked by a dog? You've got to be curious about those things and explore it in order to be aware and then be able to face it or do something progressive in that way. But yeah, not good enough, and having that awareness can be painful, but it's not permanent.
I can guarantee you it is almost permanent. Okay.
Yeah. No. The painfulness isn't permanent. The painfulness isn't permanent. Like, awareness is great, but it's once you're aware of something, you have the ability to be able to recognize it and change it as it happens. So that can be painful. That's what I mean. It's painful.
It is painful.
But the pain isn't permanent.
Yeah.
You can move past it.
I understand that. I understand you. So what about you, Lisa? Now, have you ever sat down since Lucy's told you, hey, yes, mom, and you have given to us, like, ponder about when am I doing it, how do I not do it, and how do I stop it?
I haven't really come to a solution though. It's a subject that I need to explore more with the kids. But I think what Hayley says about being aware and being aware of how you speak to your kids, and I think also with the younger generation, the earlier that they can learn in their life is to not worry about everyone else and what everyone else is doing, the better off they'll be. You have to be happy to do what you're doing for yourself, not to keep up with everyone else and to do what everyone else is doing. You have to do something or follow a path because it's what you want to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Listen,
and I do think it comes around to that purpose. Everyone has their own sense of purpose, and
are you
even children.
Are you talking about the next subject, Hayley? What are you doing?
Oh, possibly. Who knows? I just think sometimes it's about teaching kids, even and giving them that sort of acknowledging who they are and then helping them along their journey around fulfilling our purpose, whatever that is. Whereas what we were talking about in terms of not good enough and getting that passed down from by families, parents or whoever, possibly is them trying to fulfill their purpose through children.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that really helped me with not good enough feeling was I think a concept from Warren Buffett that I read not so long ago about determine what is enough. Because if you can determine when I retire, if I have that is enough, then you can work backwards from there, set your goals to get there, and then you feel that. The problem in life, I think we live in a society where the goalpost keeps on being moved.
Moving.
Yeah. And therefore not good enough keeps on just recreating itself, right?
Yeah.
There was a time when we wish we were a millionaire. We become a millionaire now. Hold on. Now we want to become a multi-millionaire. And, you know, suddenly we're now unhappy until we get there. So we keep on moving the goalpost. And I thought that, you know, when he said, no, set what you want and be happy when you get there. I think that is, for me, a very big formula for feeling now you're good enough. But what about the people who are so far away from the millions? I mean, what do they do in terms of? So, for example, I'm going to ask you this because we're getting to the end, close to the end now. How do I deal with my children if I have created so much not good enough in them? I mean, you two ladies would know. I mean, you have 3 children and 2.
Like, what do you do now to undo what you may have already
Absolutely.
done?
That's what our listeners are probably going to be asking themselves, right? How do I do this?
Well, I think you have the conversation. Like, I think Lisa and Lucy have started that conversation, and it's now, I guess, planted a seed for Lisa to go, I need to know what that was, because that was never my intention. And sometimes I think having those conversations, because parents generally have good intentions. They want the best for their children. They didn't purposely set out to make children feel not good enough, but along the way that's happened. So I think those conversations are good. For like little ones, I guess it's, well, what are the needs? And I think the goalposts are good. Like, you know, we want to build independent children. You know, we want to build secure, happy children. So it's like, if that's the goal, then how do I do that? Like, you know, I help them face their fears, you know, I teach them right from wrong, I do all those things. But at what point do you switch from that into the, now you can be who you want to be, who you were born to be? And I don't think that, you know, I think that's hard to do as a parent, because it's not an age thing. It's not a, you know, like I'm sure Lisa, you got, and you, Thomas, have older kids than me. So, you know, that's still hard to do, to go, okay, off you go, you know, have whatever job you want, do whatever you want. You know, you can't, as a parent, you just can't do that.
Well, that's the easy part. It gets harder as they grow up.
Yeah, being able to do that. So I think recognizing it in yourself, and then being able to go, what am I doing? How am I contributing to my children not feeling good enough? Right. I can guarantee you'll start recognizing it, because since we've had this talk, I've even recognized it in my own children and gone, that's because of my OCD. It's like, that's not, your bed's not made quite right, but this, you know, good try. Like, but it's constant. So you just got to keep yourself in check to go, what are my values? And what do I want to instill? Do I want to instill that they're not good enough, they're never going to live up to my expectations? Or am I going to celebrate, you know, whatever goals we've set and they've achieved them? And
Nice. How about you, Lisa?
What was the question?
So on this subject here, what would be your final advice?
For your children, like for your kids?
Whatever you like.
Well, I think it's okay to feel that you're not good enough. I think it's what you do with that feeling or that thought from there, as to whether you sit and wallow in it and don't go any further, or don't allow yourself to grow, or whether you know, pick yourself up and move forward and go in a better direction and have more confidence, or whatever it is you need to move forward and to believe in yourself. And with your kids, I don't know what I've done to mine, but I've always just loved them, and I think they're all amazing, and they all know that regularly, and I'm super proud of them. And I think as a mum, I'm just little old me here, just love your kids and do everything you can and give them as much positive feedback as you can.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, well, I'm going to have to give Hayley the closing, but my thing is this. From my own experience with NGE, you don't have to spend too much time on your kids. You need to spend more time on yourself, because once you're right, your kids will follow. The problem is too much about forgetting that monkey see, monkey do. We try too much on telling our kids how to be rather than ourselves on how to be, because our kids, they watch how we are and they emulate that. So if we want to get rid of NGE in our kids, we need to behave without NGE, and that's a much harder work to do, right? So Hayley, why don't you just close the show for today? It was a fantastic show. Thank you so much, ladies.
It was.
You have made my night, because you've proven me right. I think that the two of you got the right balance.
Yeah.
So I can't wait until the new subjects for our audience. Should you have any question, go on to our podcast, NGE Podcast on Facebook, put your subject in, write it in, and then what we'll do is that gives us a bit of time to prepare and think about it, because I don't like things to be something that is ad lib. I think that solutions need to be thought of, and we play with lives. It's not just a solution that is a monopoly solution. This is a life solution, so it takes time. And then both Hayley, Lisa and I, and maybe another guest can really attend to this. I'm sure we're going to have guests. We already have a lineup, and it's about just trying to get the best of human potential, right? So Hayley, why don't you just close the show?
All right. So thank you everyone for coming to NGE. We're so happy that you've joined us, and we hope you got something out of it. So we hope that out of this you might have felt like normal, because we are all really normal, or abnormal, because there's no normal. So but I think together we can just, I guess, just pose questions and come up with what are the thoughts, what are the feelings, because they're two different things, aren't they, Thomas? Now we've worked that out.
Love that.
Yeah, and getting out of our heads and our inner critics and sharing, because there's no harm in that. So thank you for joining, and hopefully next week we'll come up with something else. Oh, fortnight. Right, we'll see you next fortnight.
Ladies. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Bye.
See ya.